Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
The Phil Donahue Show was the first talk show format that included audience participation. He was one of the most influential talk show hosts in television history. His show tackled controversial and taboo topics, giving voice to marginalized voices and sparking important conversations. From politics to social issues, no topic was off limits. From women's rights to LGBTQ rights. Phil Donahue was a trailblazer, giving voice to the voiceless.
Popular television talk show host Phil Donahue talks to all types of people about many subjects and pulls it off with wit and intelligence. You go through a lot of research, or is a lot of this right off the top of your head, Phil?
Well, there are 5 people in the office who are charged with deciding what shall or shall not be on the air. 3 of them are women, and 2, including myself and the executive producer of the show, are male. We argue a lot. There's a real dialogue in the office about what will go and what won't.
Right.
So the result is that you have a talk show host who knows a little bit about a lot of things. I guess I can talk to anybody for about 2 minutes. I've often wondered how much depth there is there, but I must say it's a challenge and it's a unique opportunity. I've said often that I think everybody ought to have his own talk show. It's certainly an enlarging experience.
Did you have to cut many people off? Do you have some kind of a delay system?
We have a 10-second delay built into the show, which allows us to take out profanity or anything that might be libelous. But curiously, in the history of the show, we've had to cut more guests than callers. A lot of people think of a phone show as a vehicle that attracts people out of the woodwork on the phone. As a matter of fact, in the daytime, it's just been the opposite for us. We've had the most meaningful contributions to the program in terms of questions have come from phone callers. I think one of the reasons is that the phone caller is anonymous, so I think that you can ask maybe a more insightful question on the phone if you're not seen than you would if you were in the audience or on the air visually. And beyond that, I think certainly out there in the daytime are women who have an awful lot of information and talent. Many of them, I think most women read more than their husbands. Many of them are smarter. And here we come with an opportunity to express their feelings, important feelings that they have about important issues. And that's really been a significantly important ingredient to our show.
Out of all the personalities you've interviewed, who was the most difficult and who was the easiest to interview?
Well, we've died, like most people who do shows like this, we're especially sensitive to doing a bad show because we normally work with only one guest, and what that means is that when we die big. And so we're extremely conservative about the way we book people. We hardly ever book someone blind. And then if, for example, Johnny Carson is going down the chute, he can cue the band. I have no band. So even with all we made all the mistakes, so I can tell you that we seldom get ourselves into a impossible situation. But when you do 245 shows a year, it is true that you don't hit a home run every day, and we've had our share of bombs. Often you'll get a person who's a very nice and talented person who may just be on an off day. I died about 7-8 months ago with Sid Caesar, who just showed up very, I don't know whether it was a question of a headache or, I know Sid doesn't drink, so that wasn't the issue. It's just, I was asking 6-minute questions and he was saying yes.
Well, you really got some reaction on Linda Lovelace when you had her on.
Of all the shows we've done, I think, for many people, especially some men, Linda's the only show they remember.
That really is the only one I remember. That's funny you said that.
Well, I get off airplanes, and the guys with those earpieces, the maintenance ground crew,
yeah,
they'll say, hey, man, they're not too sure who I am, but they remember Linda.
That's something else. That had to be a little hard to handle all that. You never knew what kind of questions would come in your way, I suppose, on that one.
Yes, and everything you ask her comes out wrong.
Yeah,
it's hard to say anything without it having some double meaning.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Phil.
My pleasure.
Bob Berry.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all the episodes at WisconsinBroadcastingMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's book, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Angels Kids Fund and Donate Life Wisconsin. The preceding program was made possible by a generous contribution from Terry Bond.